Today is February 11th, 2025. First item on our agenda is public comment for anybody that signed up. No speakers. Thank you, Kayla. Next item on the agenda is a review and approval of the meeting minutes from our January meeting. Do I have a motion? Motion. See a motion from Mr. Franklin and a second from Penny Morgan. All in favor say aye. 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 All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next item is a review of our financial statements. Howie.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Development Authority, council members, Vice Mayor. I will be going over the financial information and the cash flows for January 2025. For our operating account, we had a beginning cash balance of $7,917,184. Cash receipts during the month of January, we had $7,881 in interest income. We had $73,427. This was for the annual 2024 Town Center Conference Room revenue share, which was paid by the Weston Town Center. Then we had $22,762 and $3,367. Both of these were for industrial revenue bond administration fee. One was paid by LifeNet Health, and the other one was paid by Our Lady of Perpetual Help. Cash disbursements during January, we had $44,693 paid for the Atlantic Park construction and support services through December 31st, 2024. That was paid to MVP. We also had, we made two payments to MVP. We also paid the invoice through November 30th, 2024 for construction and support services. That was for $44,412. We had approximately $15,000 for the monthly conduit management, covering the period of January 15th to February 15th. That was paid to Global Links. We had $7,369 for the final billing of the fiscal year 2024 audit, paid to Cherry Beckert. And then finally, we had $3,125 for utility line markings. That was in Corporate Landing Business Park, and it was paid to Mid-Atlantic Surveying. After those receipts and disbursements, we have an ending cash balance on January 31st of $7,906,952. Also for the operating account were the amounts that were paid by the VBDA and then reimbursed by the city in January. First, we had approximately $1.7 million for the Atlantic Park entertainment venue, draw number 23. That was paid to Venture Waves. And then also paid to Venture Waves, we had $657,992 for the Atlantic Park offsite infrastructure, draw number 23. We had $33,141 for Innovation Park. This was for offsite infrastructure work and development fee through December 31st, 2024. That was paid to Architectural Graphics. And we had a little over $3,000 for Innovation Park construction phase services paid to Kimley Horn. For Corporate Landing, we had two expenses, one for $42,784 to relocate two mainline circuit poles and to move the capacitor bank. That was paid to Dominion Energy Virginia. And then we had $1,387 for new roadway and Pond C final design paid to VHB. Finally, we had $6,512. These were for the travel expenses and presentation to City Council related to the Virginia Beach Convention Center Hotel feasibility study. This was the final payment for that and was paid to CBRE Valuation and Advisory Services. For the capital maintenance account, during the month of January, We paid a little under $2,000 for parking lot improvement, for the parking lot improvements plan to VHB. This leaves us with the ending amphitheater capital maintenance balance of $769,243. For the Human Services Building, we received a monthly lease payment for February of $47,910. And then we also paid for the roof and cooling tower replacement. This started the construction phase and was paid to Simpson Unlimited. That was for $692,336, leaving us an ending Human Services capital maintenance account of $2,986,370. For the VB National Golf Course capital maintenance account, we received our monthly revenue share agreement for the December. That was $15,216. Then we paid for the roof replacement design phase to HBA Architecture for $9,591. And we also paid for a hose station leak repair and permit fees to Virginia Construction Solutions for $9,650, leaving us an ending balance in that account of $2,172,372. Then for the initiative and incentive and initiative account, there was no significant activity. There's a little bit of interest and a small finance fee. So the ending balance did change slightly, and the ending balance on January 31st was $1,119,428. And then for the EDIP cash account, we also did not have any activity in that. The ending EDIP appropriations on January 31st were $11,191,508. The amount encumbered for EDIP Part A was $4,597,918, and the amount encumbered by EDIP Part B was $625,000. That left us with EDIP grant funds that are available for future awards of $5,968,590. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Howie? All right, thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
The next item on our agenda is a presentation. With us today is Allison Byrne, who's the Executive Director of the Virginia Museum of Contemporary Art, also known as the MoCA.
Good morning, everyone. Chair Murphy, City Council members, everyone here this morning. We are honored to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I'm here with my colleague Travis Malone. Travis is the Dean of the Susan S. Good Arts and Humanities.
The Baton Honors College.
Baton Honors College.
Yeah, no, so former dean of the Arts and Humanities, yeah.
Great. Travis is on the integration team at Virginia Wesleyan University, working closely with Virginia MoCA to talk about how we move over to their campus. Next slide. So before we talk about our future, I thought it might be important just to talk for a minute about Virginia MoCA's past, because we have quite a rich history here in Virginia Beach, which begins before this slide. For those of you who don't know, our organization began in 1952. It evolved out of an artist who was sick. Friends rallied around her. They did a show down at the Boardwalk, which is now our storied Boardwalk Art Show. It continued. The official first Boardwalk Art Show was in 1956, so we will be celebrating our 70th anniversary next year, which we're very excited about. From that, they started to offer classes in the community down at the oceanfront at different locations. They had exhibitions. And then from there, they changed their name several times. They merged with other organizations. It became the Virginia Beach Center for the Arts. In 1989, there were some donors who came together, did private fundraising to build our current 2200 Parks Avenue location. We became the Contemporary Arts Center of Virginia, which is what it was when I joined the organization, and the building was gifted to the city. We've been leasing it for $1 a year since then. You can see another key milestone was in 2010 when we became an accredited museum through the American Alliance of Museums, which is a key national recognition for any museum. It says that we're doing everything what we need to be doing professionally to the standards. It also really helps us as a non-collecting institution secure high-profile loans from artists and other museums across the country and around the world. We've become known across the country for the incredible exhibitions that we've been doing. Maya Lin, Kara Walker, who've been bringing lots of recognition to the city of Virginia Beach and our cultural arts. And then 2023, our affiliation with Virginia Wesleyan University. So just a little bit more about who we are. We are a non-collecting contemporary art museum, which means we are different from many others. We do not have a collection. We are nimble. We respond to our community and what's important, what's happening in our community. It means we borrow works from artists, from museums, from collectors, locally, nationally, and internationally. And it is work by artists who are living and working today, which means we engage with them, we bring them to our community, we bring them to our schools, we offer master classes, and really integrate them into the work that we're doing. We're guided by a board of trustees, nonprofit organization. As I mentioned earlier, we are nationally accredited by the American Alliance of Museums. I'm going to ask Travis to talk for a minute about Virginia Wesleyan.
Sure. You might know us better by who our president is, Dr. Scott Miller, and he sends his regards today. But also, just a brief reminder, we have grown from what was once a small, sleepy, private liberal arts campus to a very diverse metropolitan university. For 5,000 learners, we just started our first cohort for our incarcerated individuals in Chesapeake, and we have 74, which maxed out the potential enrollment with wait lists on all of our classes down there. So many incarcerated individuals seeking their first journeys into higher education. We are 3 colleges in one. We are an arts and humanities college in sciences and a professional studies campus, which includes our campus in Tokyo, our campus down in Chesapeake, and around other places around the region. We have our 300 Parklight campus as well, but it is wonderful to have MoCA join us here, and a very scenic aspect and expectation. So a lot of really great things. We have a $225 million capital campaign that's completed, $110 million in new construction, and $80 million in endowment growth just in the last 9 years alone. So it's really exceptional growth, and really poising us all for the future with this wonderful partnership. And we have a lot of ways that we want this to be meaningful and collaborative. So Virginia Wesleyan will serve as an educational partner institution, but also allow new staff, new responsibilities, and actually new facilities for the great teaching artists that MoCA has, and the great partnership of education that they've done in the region for that. So, and I'll let Allison explain how the collaboration works in a physical sense.
Yeah, so a little bit like our current plan with the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia Wesleyan will be maintaining the grounds and the facilities, and we'll be working closely with them, as Travis said, in terms of collaboration, and it's already happening. So the integration team is really thinking about how we can work together, how we can support their students, how we can work with kind of faculty who are specialists in their area to implement and bring together richness for our exhibitions. Virginia MoCA will be completely independent. We will have curatorial control, programmatic control over everything that we're doing, and we'll maintain a separate budget and board of trustees. So very similar to our current situation. The integration will be the Virginia Museum of Contemporary Art at Virginia Wesleyan University. And I just wanted to take a moment to walk you through the integration timeline. So conversations really started back in 2019 with the leadership and the board of trustees at the time of the Virginia Museum of Contemporary Art. That was 30 years into the 2200 Parks Avenue location. Starting to think about the future of the museum. What does that look like? What's the sustainability? What's the next 50 years look like for the organization to make sure that we're growing and thriving and in a location that continues to make sense for us? In June 22, formal discussions began between Dr. Scott Miller and our previous executive director. In January 23, they secured lead gifts, which was $25 million towards the construction of the new building. And then key stakeholders on both sides, both boards approved the integration, and we started working with Time Off and Moss Architects and Oregon Construction for the project. You all may remember July 23, we had a public announcement And then we really leaned into architectural planning. So Michael Schneckser has been an incredible partner for the museum. He's been working, getting to know all of our staff, and really listening to what our needs are as an accredited art museum. And we were so excited, all of the little details and things that the public will see in terms of increased square footage for art. So we're really focusing on what our mission is. The new museum will be 35,000 square feet, which is quite similar to what we have in our current location, but more space dedicated to art and to education. March 24, we signed a 50-year lease with Virginia Wesleyan University, really solidifying that partnership. Many of you were at the groundbreaking in August of 24. And then one of the things that has been my main role at the museum is fundraising our capital campaign to activate the inside of the building. So the lead projects, the lead gifts were for the building, and now we are fundraising for activating the insides. What does it cost for technology and furniture and all of those great things that a new building needs. And then the construction has been going on since the fall, and it's really fun to go and visit. Travis is lucky enough to be there every day, and I get great photos from Dr. Miller of all of the progress, and it's really coming along. Do you want to talk about the location?
Absolutely, yeah. So I think the beauty of this expanding the radius really gives you a sense of what it means to be 35 miles from where MoCA is currently located and where it will be on Virginia Wesleyan University's campus. You can see that the reach expands to a large portion of the 7 cities and up into Eastern Shore as well. So there's more than 1.8 million people within that circle, which really expands it was 425,000 in your current location now. By just moving it over towards campus, we're accessing so many of the great infrastructure growth and access to a lot of other economic aspects of Virginia Beach as well that we're looking forward to helping host and be a part of the vibrant future of MoCA. Yeah, oh, great, campus plan, great. Can I borrow just a quick second? So as you note, 05 here at the top, 05 at the top is where you will, it's just down from the guard shack on Virginia Wesleyan University's campus, so when you come right onto campus, come to the first stop sign, that 05 will be a placement sign that will designate the David R. Good Arts Complex, which is what this entire map is shown. 02 is the Susan S. Good Fine and Performing Arts Center, and 01, 08, 07, 09 are Virginia MoCA's access points, and the main building for Virginia MoCA will be 01. You can see right behind it, 03 is the Susan Beverly Hall, which was our fine arts building, renamed for our trustee and alum, Susan Beverly Torma, and holds most of our fine arts classes in that building there as well. So those buildings there collected in this little brown building there is one of our, is actually a residence hall as well that will serve as our arts village for incoming freshmen that are interested in the arts. So creating this entire complex here on our campus.
Building. So it's a 2-floor building. Entrance is up at the top here. You walk into an atrium space, not unlike the beautiful atrium that we have at the current location. Our art lab space, for those of you who have been to our current location, is our interactive educational gallery space, which at the moment is tucked in the back. And what we do in art lab is really unpack the exhibitions that we have, talk about the processes of the artists, and address different learning styles. We are bringing the art to the forefront in the new building, so you'll see it from the minute you get out of your car and you start to walk up to the building. There's a beautiful sunlit corridor that runs through the entire space, and we have 2 very large galleries. So we are not building an auditorium in our new location because we are right beside the Good, which has a beautiful auditorium. So all of that square footage is being put into gallery spaces. So it really gives us a lot of flexibility. The goal with having more gallery space is obviously more art, but is also to be open to the public more often, so that there's more to see, more variety of artists on a regular basis. One of the things that our team is very excited about, and it's not what the public will see, but in terms of efficiency, the art handling and receiving in the back, where our loading dock comes in on the right-hand side. Michael was really key in listening to us and what we needed, because we bring all kinds of tractor-trailer trucks with huge sculptures. If you come and see our Duke Riley exhibition that just opened last week, we have a submarine in the gallery, we have a truck in the gallery, and a pigeon coop. In order to get that into our gallery, we had to take down a wall, put the wall back up, and take the wall back down, and put the wall back back up. So just increasing expenses and efficiency, and so Michael has made all of the spaces, all of the doors the same size. We can easily get something off the loading dock, into the vault to store, and into any of our galleries. So really exciting upgrades that we have. And then there's 2 floors. So the second floor has our administration along with 4 really beautiful art studios. So we will be able to continue to offer master classes, art camps, all of the wonderful educational programs that we currently offer, as well as school tours for school children K through 12 and beyond from Hampton Roads. And some of our progress so far, so I got to go visit the site last Friday and take a hard hat tour, and I have to tell you, it was so special to see those floor plans that we've been looking at for the past year come to life, walk across our gallery floors. So it's coming along really, really well. The concrete has been poured, the masonry has been worked on, the structural steel is supposed to go in this month, so it's moving forward really nicely. We are due to move this time next year. So we are currently programming 2,200 parks for all of our exhibitions, all of our programs, art camp through the end of this year with a move early next year. And Chair Murphy just asked me to talk a little bit about economics and the arts, and I wanted to point to 2 key studies that were done fairly recently. The Draga Center for Economic Analysis and Policy included Virginia MoCA in the 2023 report, and you can see that MoCA's operations generated substantial economic activity, and the key takeaway for us is that for every dollar invested in Virginia MoCA, $3 are returned to the city of Virginia Beach. And that data does not include the Boardwalk Art Show. And then the Arts and Economic Prosperity Study, this is something that the Americans for the Arts does about every 5 years. It's a national study, so looking much further afield. I think there were almost 400 different arts organizations that participated and gave their data. So you can see, economically, prosperity, the wellness that the arts bring to our community is really rich. But the numbers, about $270 million is spent on the arts. So that's between arts audiences and the organizations themselves. So arts means business in so many different ways. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. I mean, it's part of, or a critical part of what makes Virginia Beach so attractive to new businesses and to new residents is having a vibrant cultural arts community and also having a large, institute of higher education in Virginia Wesleyan. I think you're our only Virginia Beach headquartered university, so we appreciate having you both here. Any questions from any commissioners? Thank you so much. We're looking forward to the grand opening.
Thank you. Look forward to welcoming you all.
All right, thank you. The next item on the agenda is a request for approval of a resolution with regard to the redevelopment of Clever Mall. And Kathy Warden, our planning director, is here this morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Mayor, members of council, and commissioners. This should be brief. This has been in front of you before. This is probably number 3. And the reason we're bringing this to you is the partnership that we've worked out with Pembroke Square is where there will be 2 public garages developed as part of the redevelopment project over there. And those garages will be treated just as the garages are treated here at Town Center. There will be no cost for people to park in, but the City Council has approved a term sheet where they will be providing assistance for the funding. So here's the disclosures. So again, they're requesting to modify the existing term sheet. This is all about the carrying costs associated with the borrowing of the funds for the garages. I'll get to that in a minute. Just a refresher here, developing the Pembroke Mall into what they have on the books now are 3 phases of development. In the upper corner, they have completed their senior living Aviva project. Their next phase of development, and it'll be 2 phases of development, will be the multifamily in the center of the mall where they've done some demolition, and then the hotel where the old SunTrust building was out by Virginia Beach Boulevard. So again, 3 phases, and then it is anticipated office towers down the road if there is a market. The newest proposal that came in March of 2024, when they fine-tuned their numbers, ended up with a total development cost of $163 million. Total spaces in 2 garages is 745, with a city cost participation of not to exceed $22.35 million for the construction. Here's a picture of phase 1. As I said, they are complete with construction. There are 153 units, and as of December, 60 of those units have been leased, but I think that it's even more than that at this time. $64.3 million total development cost. Phase 2 is multifamily. This is in the center area of the mall again. This is what will be right beside the parking deck you'll see behind it. And that's 272 units at $69 million. Phase 3, the hotel, Tempo, Flag, 156 rooms, $30 million investment here, and the parking garage is on the first couple of floors of this building. So just a reminder of the estimated fiscal impact and our assumptions. Again, 2 parking garages for 745 parking spaces. The city has agreed to pay $30,000 per space with a $2,750 per space carrying cost. The general fund will pay the debt service associated with the total issuance of $24.4 million in bonds. Revenue from the project is anticipated to begin in FY26. Fiscal impact includes all projected real estate general fund revenue to occur from this development. And then to ensure that revenues remain within the general fund, dedication of the real estate revenue equivalent to the revenue generated would need to occur within the general fund. And then there will be an establishment of a special service district, just like the one here at Town Center. And that was originally planned to be 45 cents to support the debt service associated with design and developer construction gap at $5,000 per space, or a total of $5.5 million. And then garage maintenance, operations and maintenance of $275 per space. Here's the estimated fiscal impact for the general fund. 20-year cumulative revenue at $48.5 million. Cumulative expenses at $33.2 million. Estimated net revenue of $15.3 million, and then a net present value of revenue at $7.5 million. So for consideration, and as I mentioned, the earlier agreement for the terms was $30,000 per space, not to exceed, and then $2,750 per space for carrying costs for 1 year. What has occurred is there's going to be a longer gap between the completion of the garages and the completion of the phase. So our partners have come back and said there's going to be more carrying costs associated with that debt. And will City Council agree to the additional costs, which would be a difference of $1.28 million? That will be paid for from the newly established SSD. So the SSD is going to go up from 45 cents to 47 cents. So that's the only change here, and that's what we're asking for authorization. This will be on the February 18th agenda for City Council to consider as well. And that's my presentation. Can I answer any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for Kathy? So it sounds like it's all SSD impact.
Correct.
It's just that, Madam Chair, the agreement is with the authority, and those numbers are reflected there, and we thought that was material, so we wanted to bring it.
We appreciate that. All right.
I need to abstain from this. I'm not working on this project. Okay.
Thanks, David. If there aren't any further questions for Kathy, the chair will entertain a motion on the request to modify, to approve the amendments to the term sheet related to the redevelopment. Motion for Mr. Weissenstein. Second for Mr. Brunke. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. And then with Mr. Wiener abstaining from the vote. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a request for approval of the issuance of an RFP, and we'll have Pam with you.
morning, City Council members, Madam Chair, members of the authority. Today, I'm going to be discussing a RFP request that we have for the Virginia Beach National Golf Course. Little background, of course, the City of Virginia Beach owns the property, and the authority has been leasing it from the city since '97. And the VVDA and the current operators have been in agreement since 2007. And the audit was just completed in 2023. And the VVDA is currently taking action to address all of the findings that were in the audit. So with the request for the RFP, of course, like anything, it needs ongoing maintenance. So the current operators have asked this year for drainage and sinkhole repairs, tree removals, lake bank erosion repairs, and sidewalk repairs as well. So the RFP would help us to make these repairs go quicker, more efficiently, and the RFP that we're asking for would be at a maximum of $100,000. That would be limited for a one-year term. And that the way that the work orders would be entered would follow the policies and procedures that we already have in place. So the work wouldn't just be done, they would have to submit the request for the work to be completed. We would review it. If the authority wants to review it beforehand, depending on the request, we can do that as well. So the request, we are asking for the RFP to move forward. That will be capped at $100,000 with a one-year term for the necessary repairs to maintain the golf course. Any questions?
Any questions for him? So Bill's got a question.
Would it be fair to say that the objective here is really to streamline and expedite various repairs as opposed to deal with each one individually?
Absolutely, that's the goal.
And so one of the issues that was identified in that 2023 audit was the fact that the operator needed to comply with the public procurement requirements. So this just opens up a RFP so that we can have a provider approved to do work.
So we can follow that process, yes.
I have one more. Are the repairs proposed limited to that list, or can it be other things?
It can be other things as well, but those are the needs that we've identified right now, specifically for the green, that needs some maintenance. The interior of the facilities, we're addressing with funds as they're available, yes.
So this is just for stormwater exterior type.
Exterior things, yes. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Pam? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Got one from Bill and a second from Eric. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Pam. Next item on the agenda is a request for approval of a grant of a utility easement. We've got Emily Archer.
Morning, Madam Chair, Vice Mayor, Councilman Pucci, members of the board. And I have to hit control now. I just have an exhibit for you today. This is a utility easement request for VVDA property on 18th Street, oceanfront. You may remember we had a similar one in recent agendas on 17th Street. You can see here in red. For Dominion Energy Box, as they underground the overhead utilities throughout this area, they need to have big green boxes for Dominion for the switch stations and underground gear to come up. So they're doing the same thing on 18th Street right now and found the need for another one at the top right corner, highlighted in yellow. It's 225 square feet, 15 by 15. You can see the parcel, it's kind of tucked in the corner outside of the major kind of developable square area, right? So it's tucked up here in the corner to minimize any kind of preclusion of development on the parcel. So seeking your request to authorize this easement today.
Any questions for Emily? So this is all underground, right?
So there'll be like a green box on that square, but the overheads are going underground, yes. And if you haven't seen it, the substation is being decommissioned currently and is almost all gone from that parcel right now as well.
All right. Hearing Hearing no more questions, I'll entertain a motion on the request for an easement.
Abstain, it's next to one of my properties.
Mr. Standing's going to be abstaining from the vote. Mr. Weisenseel, and a second from Penny Morgan. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign with an abstention from Mr. Standing. Thank you. Next item is a resolution regarding the transfer of property to the Development Authority.
I can get started while she's pulling it up.
Kate.
Good morning, Vice Mayor, Councilmember Bellucci, Councilmember Remick, Madam Chair, members of the authority. We are going to be bringing you a recommendation for the asset of Lachelle Place with a recommendation for an EDIP for Project Optic for the company Vidar. While Anna is pulling up the presentation, I'd like to note that in the audience with us today, we have Cliff Bird, President and CEO of the company, as well as Peter Smith, who's with operations, and then additionally Chris Sarpis and Martin Murden from their brokerage team, SL Nestbaum. I believe at the end of the presentation, Madam Chair will recognize them. All right, we got it up. Having a little loading. There we go. All right, here's a look at the disclosures for the company Vidar. Can you do it for me? Okay. No underwear. Need to put the I think she can't even get it to work. Sorry, everyone. We have a little bit of technical difficulties. You can still start talking while Anna's pulling that up. So the property is Lachelle Place. It's at 2656 Lachelle Place. It's in District 3, zoned I-1. It's just over 16,400 square feet. And this property was transferred to the Development Authority on January the 7th by City Council. Anyone's interested in where Lachelle Place is located, it's located right near Lynn Haven Mall, down Lachelle Place Road. Let me go to the next one. I already went through that slide.
Lovely 80s building.
Lovely 80s building, it's built in '89. Right, so here's where it's located, it's near Lynn Haven Mall. Just look at some current photos of the property. So City Council acquired this property back in 2008 as part of the Oceana ITA Conformity Acquisition Program. This was purchased for a little over $1.68 million. In 2011, the property was rezoned to I-1 Light Industrial for the German company BMZ, who did assembly and distribution of battery packs. BMZ currently is still operating in the city near the airport. Back in 2022, the property was leased to the Development Authority for 5 years for purposes of establishing an industrial incubator. However, funding to implement the program was not approved by City Council. Back in September 2022, a facility assessment was done on the property, noting certain things that would need to be done to the building to get it up to code, to be occupiable, HVAC, some ADA compliance, the roof. In March of 2024, the property was appraised for $1.45 million, and just noting that any sale or lease proceeds for the building must be returned back to the city, split between that ITA and Oceana Conformity Acquisition, CIP, as well as half going back to the state, who provided funding for the city to initially purchase the building in 2008. So economic development, since we knew in 2022 we were not going to receive the funding to establish the industrial incubator, we've been marketing it to prospects to assume the building and purchase the building, showing it to several different light manufacturing companies in the space of offshore wind, defense, We received unsolicited interest for the building for an adult rehabilitation center. However, there were concerns around the APZ1 zoning. Additionally, we received an LOI for a technology incubator, which came in under the appraised value and again had concerns around APZ1 zoning. So economic development has been engaging with a new to market defense company who's looking to establish a presence in Hampton Roads. And then again, just noting City Council authorized the property, authorized the transfer of the property to the Development Authority back in January for purposes of finalizing the sale to this company within 6 months. And I'm gonna pass it off to Dominique to talk about VIDAR.
Good morning. So Project Optic, we have VIDAR, is the defense company we was talking about. They're headquartered in New Hampshire. They are a manufacturer of night vision, thermal optics, camera sensors for the defense industry, as well as research and development. They do have a couple local customers here in Virginia Beach, including ADS and General Dynamics. And they submitted an LOI back in September to purchase Lachelle Place at the appraised value of $1.45 million with a 3% broker fee. Since then, we have received a counteroffer submitted back in January for $1.1 million due to the higher than assessed construction prices, just to get this space occupiable. And we do have a recommendation that addresses this towards the end. So as far as parameters, VIDAR intends to establish the place for their operations, including manufacturing, component assembly, R&D, and warehouse and distribution. The state is also putting together an incentive package for job creation of Egypt. Just as a reminder, this does not require a local match. As far as the capital investment, the $2 million for real estate includes the purchase price of the property as well as the construction cost. The FF&E is $40,000, machinery and tools is $650,000, which brings us to a total capital investment of $2.69 million. And for jobs, we have no retained full-time jobs because they will be coming out of state. But we do have the creation of 40 full-time jobs at an average salary of $75,500, which does include mostly high-skilled laborers for engineering positions. And all of this capital investment and job creation is projected for 3 years performance period. However, the company did submit a long-term investment for up to 5 years, which does include 10 additional jobs and $1.85 million extra in capital investment. So we are recommending that BBDA accept the transfer of the property from Virginia Beach, from the city, as well as approve the sale of 656 Lachelle Place to VIDAR for $1.3 million. This includes honoring the original appraised value as well as the competitive LOI and considering the high construction cost with a 3% broker fee. And additionally, award VIDAR a $147,600 EDIP grant pursuant to Part A. This includes $107,600 for the capital investment, which includes their projected $2.69 million in capital investment, as well as 40,000 job creation for their 40 FTEs. And Paige mentioned a note about the EDP.
So just noting, as well as Dominique mentioned, the state has put together an incentive package for the company. We were cleared to come here today. The state, the governor will be announcing this project the week of February 24th. And also just noting, as per city council terms with the transfer you'd be accepting, the sale must be finalized with the company by July 7th.
Any questions for Paige or Dominique?
Do we have two separate presentations on the transfer of the property and the EDIP, or is this a combined presentation?
Just two separate votes.
Separate votes.
Separate
Yeah,
votes.
two separate
One
votes.
presentation.
Yes, sir.
Did you have a question?
So the property was just, make sure that the property is currently owned by the city, so it was not on the tax rolls.
That's correct.
This brings it back on.
This would bring it back on the tax rolls, yes, sir.
Also help me understand just with real estate. I'm not a real estate guy. Maybe everybody else in the room understands this. Purchase was in 2008 for $1.6 million.
That's correct.
Today, we're selling it for 1.3. 17 years later, at a $300,000 loss. Can I use that? Help me understand in the real estate market how this property go from 1.6 to 1.3.
Well, if you remember, the building has been unoccupied and is in quite a state of
Any
disrepair.
company coming in would have to commit investment to getting it up to code to be occupiable. So that's partly why the value has gone down on the
This is
property.
during the time period, that decline occurred during the time period when the city owned the property.
That is correct.
And as you'll recall, this was purchased as part of the RAC process.
Yes.
And so we occasionally would pay a premium to get non-conforming uses and get a hold of them, get control of those buildings. This is a given where it is within agency one. And so sometimes the values don't line up because there was a bigger whole RAC stuff.
Okay.
I believe
It was a 150-person call center that to be eliminated from the APC one area.
Okay, and I wanted to make sure we were talking about that part of it where everybody could hear that, because on the presentation is just 1.6 to 1.3 with no explanation, and I think it's important that we understand how this happened.
And I think several months ago, if not a year ago, you all came to us when we were trying to put people into the building. I think it was part of an industrial incubator.
That's correct.
And I think, what was it, 600,000 or something just to
Just to get it up to code, and then there was additional funds needed to do a build out and then look at an operator. So the funds that we told city council that we would need to make it an industrial incubator were not approved as part of the budget process. In March 2024, that appraisal was done for 1.45, recognizing, again, the cost it would take just to get someone in the building, was why we came back with a recommendation for the 1.3.
And it gets it back on the tax rolls now.
That is correct.
and it
conforming use.
brings a new business, so. Any questions, Vice Mayor Wilson?
I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but also it's important. So the money that's split with the state, it's after the expenses that are paid, like the real estate broker and all of that.
That is correct, so the 1.3, and then with the 3% broker fee, and then what's left will be split.
Whatever the bottom line is.
Yes, ma'am.
All good questions. Any other questions?
It's a great use of the space.
It is a great use, and I thought for sure Bill would be thrilled with the jobs.
I
Salaries.
I am, because I definitely do. My objective was to make sure that everybody understood the history of how the property sale values and current transaction took place.
And it's good to get all that on the record, because people
Exactly.
do watch our
Yep.
meetings. Any other questions for Paige or Dominique?
Motion to approve.
All right, so we've got a motion for Mr. Franklin.
Second.
Second from Mr. Keplinger. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. That was the motion for the transfer.
Accepting the transfer is an agreement to sale.
Accepting the transfer, and then the
And
sale,
agreement to sale.
and then the second, we'll need a motion on the request for approval of the EDIP Part A award in the amount of $147,600 to VIDAR. So we've got a motion from Mr. Franklin, second from Mr. Keplinger. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. And Mr. Byrd, would you like to come up and make your words?
We appreciate you guys having us here this morning. We're excited to come to the area. We're going to be moving our military base down here. Me being here in the early 2000s as a military member of the Navy, and then coming back and opening our military operations here is something we're excited to do. We're focused a lot on the Navy, of course, and the SOCOM. So we have two current SOCOM programs in the area, and we're looking to grow jobs and manufacturing and engineering in the area. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. We appreciate having you here. Welcome. All right. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is a request for approval of a resolution for another EDIP Part A award to Atlantic Diving Supply.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Deputy City Manager, Ms. Jarrett. I just got a brain freeze for a second. I apologize. Good morning to everybody. I'm with the Economic Development Office in the City of Virginia Beach. I'm honored to present an EDIP grant for Atlantic Diving Supply. This initiative is strategically designed to fortify our competitive framework through the retention and assisted expansion of a company currently thriving within our municipality. Herein lies the disclosure statement meant to inform the board of any potential conflicts of interest that may arise from this recommendation. The CEO is Ryan Engel, the CFO is KJ Dunn Jr., the contractor is CL Pincus, the architect/engineer is WP Large, and the property owner is Tactical Warehouse. A little bit about the company. ADS was founded in 1997 and has been headquartered in Virginia Beach since its formation. They initially started off as a small, modest retail shop selling diving equipment to the public. Under the leadership of Luke Hilliard, the founder's son, they shifted their focus to providing high-grade military equipment to government entities. Under this strategic expansion, ADS has positioned themselves as one of the largest government federal contractors in the country. They proudly hold the distinction of being the #1 defense logistics agency, a top 25 federal contractor, a top 75 GSA contractor. Additionally, over 1/4 of the ADS workforce has served in the military, or with an even larger percentage of having family members who are currently serving. ADS is a highly decorated company and a great place to work within Virginia Beach. Some of the awards consist of being Inc. 500's America's 5th fastest growing private company, a top 24 place to work in distribution, inside businesses, top 24 workplaces, so just a highly decorated company. They have an extensive product offering, which consists of weapon optics, expeditionary, clothing and individual equipment, maintenance, repair, and operations. The project overview. Atlantic Diving Solutions is currently expanding its warehouse to better support its customers, including the U.S. military. This expansion will enhance their capabilities to meet the evolving need of military operations in Virginia Beach and globally, reinforcing its strong ties to local units and bases. Their warehouse is currently at 2505 Aviator Drive with a current size of 81,700 square feet. They plan on adding an additional 40,600 square feet, 37,000 going towards warehouse space, 3,000 going towards office space, giving them a post-expansion size of 122,000 square feet with 13 additional parking spaces. Their warehouse is right off of London Bridge Road. If you look to the bottom right, on the right picture, the addition is the 40,600 square feet. Construction-wise, they plan on investing $5 million towards construction. Machinery and tools is $100,000. FF&E is $50,000, giving them a total investment of $5,150,000. Pursuant to Part A of the EDIP policy, we're recommending a grant of $150,000. The target industry is manufacturing, logistics, business retention, and expansion. Questions?
Any questions for Jaden? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion for the request for approval of a Part A award in the amount of $150,000 to Atlantic Diving Supply. A motion from Mr. Brunke? Second. Second from Penny Morgan. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Wonderful. Next item on our agenda is a request for approval of a resolution for EIP Part F Small Business Grant Selection. This is a recommendation.
Good morning, Madam Chair, council members, board members. And also want to make a special thank you to Mr. Brunke. He did chair the selection committee, went through a lot of applications, a lot of great questions, so we just wanted, it's from the staff level, to thank you for that. So the Small Business Development Grant, if you remember last month, we had 16 awards from the board. The intent was to fund small, women, minority-owned, veteran-owned, or disabled veterans or military spouses. Looks like we hit those with this first batch we've done. We had an additional application that there's some questions from the selection committee on some of the uses of funds. So we went back through and the recommendations have changed somewhat. We have an additional 17th potential grantee. That company is Executive Decisions. They're a small women-owned, minority-owned business consulting firm. So they do analyses of businesses' processes, They recommend changes in structure as well as offer training. These are the categories that they're requesting funding for. Mostly involved in getting their name out, getting their brand recognition out to the public. And the grant amount, $8,281. Recommendation from the selection committee is to approve that award.
So this one was left over from the last batch, and you all had some further questions for the applicant.
It was based on the uses of funds that they were requesting.
We appreciate you going back and digging into that one, and thank you, Bill, for your service on that special committee. Any questions?
The new government going about DEI, does it do any impact on this one?
I'm sorry, say that again?
That's a good question. The end to some of the federal DEI programs, will that affect this business?
No.
Good question.
They're private sector clients, so fully so.
All right. If there are no further questions, I'll entertain a motion on the request for this final award for the Small Business Grant Program. Got a motion from Mr. Weisenseel?
Second.
Second from Penny Morgan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion carries. All right, we are up to.
Did you say, we said last time this program was being postponed to further review, or is it going to open back up?
We're going to revisit the criteria that was used. So it's going to
Usually open up.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think we've hit a pause. So we had, I guess, a second batch of folks that had applied. We're going to wait and see how the first batch does and see if we need to make any tweaks to the program, and then reissue later on in the year.
But applications still can come in?
No, I don't think, yeah, the widows. Yeah, the applications are closed, and I believe the folks that you had in that second tranche were all informed that we were pumping the brakes on this and waiting, okay.
We didn't use that term, but yes.
Pausing the program.
Yeah, exactly.
To see what kind of, I mean, it's a brand-new program, and this is our first time, so there were a few,
That's someone asked, that's why.
yeah, a few kinks to work out. All right, do any commissioners have any comments?
No comment.
No comment from Bill. I just had a couple of things. There were a group of us, including the vice mayor and the mayor, and Councilman Berlucci, Councilman Remick, who were at the groundbreaking for Global Links. They are bringing additional undersea cables to the city of Virginia Beach. Obviously, having that data capacity and those capabilities are going to make us even more attractive to national companies and local companies. So that was a great event, a great opportunity, very cold. The other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know how many people noticed the announcement that Steel, who is one of our larger corporate citizens here, proudly celebrated the production of their 100 millionth unit at their U.S. headquarters here in Virginia Beach, which is a huge milestone. So they're in their 50th year of U.S. operations, and we're so happy to have them here. But that's a huge milestone. Their 100 millionth unit. That's a lot of battery powered stuff. All right, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Amanda.
That's insane. Did it?
Good morning, Vice Mayor Wilson, Councilmember Berlucci, Ms. Murphy, and members of the commission. So Ms. Murphy stole a part of the update that I was going to share with you today, but we did have a very frigid groundbreaking with Global Links yesterday, and this will be to accommodate 4 additional subsea cables at their Sandbridge landing site. The addition of this capacity at their facility in Corporate Landing will increase Virginia's subsea cable capacity by more than 300%. So we will have some of the fastest internet capacity in the world coming into the city of Virginia Beach. So A fun fact that they shared with me, and I need to fact check it, but it's too cool not to share with you guys, is with the addition of these 4 subsea cables, you'll be able to watch every movie ever made from black and white to today in less than 5 minutes. So that's pretty incredible. And so now it's our job to leverage these subsea cables. We're excited as a team to develop a strategy around, with the addition of these cables and the Southside network, welcoming, what does that mean to the business community, right? It's not just about having the capacity here, but how do we grow and expand our local economy and leverage this internet capacity that will be new to Virginia Beach. They are suffering some challenges with weather, however, they do anticipate the project to be completed no later than the end of March, so we're very excited about that. Also, I'd like to announce formally that the city has selected a new director of economic development, Christian Green. He has experience in both the public and private sector and has spent the majority of his career on the West Coast and in the Southeast. Thank you to those who participated in the interview process, and he'll be joining us on February 24th, and we are very much looking forward to welcoming him to the city of Virginia Beach. I did want to put in another plug for our facade improvement grant program. And speaking with the staff, the applications have been slower than normal this year. And so if you do know of a local business that could benefit from this program, please encourage them to apply. It will remain open as long as funds are available, and I believe the maximum grant is for $10,000. And then lastly, we are gearing up for the 2025 resort season. I wanted to take an opportunity to promote that. We do anticipate this to be one of the busiest years at the oceanfront yet. Beach Events recently released their summer schedule of events. We're excited to welcome back Jackalope, Point Break, and the Dome will host their first show on May 4th. Events located at the Dome are continuing to be announced on a weekly basis, and so we're very excited about that addition to our community, so stay tuned, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for Deputy City Manager Jarrett? Thank you. Great updates. Thank you. We're so happy to have Economic Development Director.
Gee.
Yeah. All right. Any other items for the good of the group? We do not have a closed session today, so I will not be reading that announcement. Hearing no further comments, I'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you all for coming.